Hi, floral friends, and welcome back to Floral Observations. We are in the end of this journey. We are reviewing the first season of the Big Flower Fight. And Matt, what is going on?
We are at the semifinals, episode 7. I can't believe we're already here. Episode 7 is all about green giants.
Yum.
Our competitors were tasked to make a sculpture out. We've moved outside at this point, I should say. We are out of the dome. We've moved outside. They've got a plot of land. It is 8 feet tall and at least 4 meters, square meters fully covered. So they need to be not just sculptures, they need to be pieces.
Installed.
They need to be
A plant installed.
So they must grow a plant or grow a creature, a giant from the ground, creature, monster, kind of anything. They were kind of given open prompt on this one, which is fun. A little bit more creativity is always fun. They had 15 hours to create this. It had to last for a full year, so they wanted full plantings. They
That was
didn't want
distinctly comment.
Yes.
The judges said it had to be able to last all year. And why is that?
And because it was made of evergreens. So that is, to be able to be evergreen. It was needed to be 3-dimensional, and it needed to be viewed, all around. We had the guest judge, Sophie Walker. She was really looking forward to all the designs, their use of color, their use of texture, and their use of those evergreen plants. That was an important one for her. She wanted to make sure that they were going to be ever.
I think the key was also is evergreens are not just green. For those that don't know, it is plants that don't lose their leaves in the fall season. They continuously keep their foliage and their plant material.
They're not going to have a bare twig exposed. It's not going to die back.
Yeah. So they had every color to them. So let's dive into it, sir.
Sure, we'll go ahead and start. The first contestants that we're going to be reviewing their design is Andrew and Ryan. And they actually won the episode. They won the challenge this episode. They did a T-Rex. They built the sculpture. There's plenty of evergreen. Garrett, you go ahead and take your thoughts on it first.
Oh, she's a prune. She's an absolute prune. Absolutely not. She made a moss sculpture and then stuck some accessories to it and was like, oh, I'll put some evergreens on the ground over here. Absolutely not. I have no clue why this won. Is it cool? Yes. Is it a creature kind of coming out of the ground? Sure. It is not an evergreen experience. This is this is where they lost me because they went so much moss and then they just touched with some plants. They had full access to sod. They had full access to all kinds of foliage. And this is the team that is no problem stealing from people, no problem running to grab stuff.
Drama on this episode.
They wanted red for the inside of for a tongue or something. And they were the ones that were tooting and booting and just kabooting about, oh, you get what you want first. And we'll see that later on. But they made a moss sculpture. The teeth, they're cool. The T-Rex, it's neat. Is it what they're supposed to do? Absolutely not. It is a moss sculpture. Prune, get out of here, bye.
I think it is a very cool botanical sculpture. I would love to see this at the Science Center or at the Botanical Garden or something
with botanicals on it.
But you're right, it is moss and stone. It is a moss and stone chicken and wire poultry encasement sculpture with evergreen plants surrounding it. Is it an awesome sculpture? Yes, it's a very cool sculpture.
Yeah.
But no, this is not it.
It was disappointing that they were so into it. It's very cool. It is very cool. But it is just moss. You had 15 hours and yes, you built this cool structure, but you put some plants kind of Willy Wonka all over the place. You didn't execute the actual giant. The giant isn't green. It's molting. It's losing its green. It's got skin disease. Also, when it gets very windy or that dries out in the summer, that moss is gone. It's not staying on that structure. So it's not going to last a year at all. So She a prune, bye. Try harder. I don't know how that won. What a mess. Okay. Next, give me the fantasy. Actually make a evergreen sculpture like HENCK and Jan, green alien. Every element of this design was everything they asked for. They used the most plant material, they used the most space. The whole entire sculpture is made out of evergreen or grasses plant material. And this is going to last year around.
They were out there with full-on like pile drivers, driving these big stakes into the ground to be able to build up the soil enough so that they could do full plantings of full evergreen plants. And then they went through and had the mindset to prune them back, to hedge them into the shape that they needed. The complaint from one of the judges is that it was lost, or the colors, because it was all the same color, it was lost, like the shape of it was lost. No.
I saw it in pictures, saw it in the show, saw it in different lighting.
I'm literally watching this on television, not even in 3D. Like, I'm watching it on a two-dimensional television.
You know what it is.
I can see all of these colors. So I beg to differ with that choice. This is it's a bloom for me. I think
this is me. For me, this is just a bloom. Any evergreen grower in the world is gonna be like, thanks for using every evergreen known to man in such a cool way.
What I really love about it too is that they were able to create this like smaller alien head and the little hands that come up to this like thing it's like popping out of the ground, and it's the lushness of on top of the hat perfectly matches the lushness of the surrounding field that not just that they planted right there, but that also continues on around them and like in the landscape background. And it's so perfect. Although I know it was just because I watched it be created at that moment, this thing looks like it could have already been sitting there for the past 10 years and have no, and we don't know.
The gardener just maintains it, and that's it. She's Shabloom. We're just like, that's what the expectation in the semifinals. That is the level of design that should be being done, not moss-covered structures. And like, the crazy part is, we're gonna move into the eliminated team, and I would have kept them over the T-Rex. The eliminated team was Sarah and Jordan. They made a garden gnome. I know why they were eliminated, but they made a full garden gnome with a hat. Reason why the first team couldn't get red was like, because they used all the red. It was huge. Again, they had time issues, but I get a gnome coming out of the ground. I love the hat. I get the detail issues. The eyeballs, what? The mustache, what is with them and mustaches? Sarah and Jordan, send me a message. What is with you and mustaches? Just, I don't understand. I actually bloomed this because could you see this at the Science Center for Children during children's?
Oh, it'd be so cute. The Magic House.
The Magic House. There's so many places that I could take off just in our community that would enjoy this. You could put this in any park and kids would enjoy this. The plant choice, captivating. The use of product, not just
it's all evergreen.
It is. And it showcases every color an evergreen can be, from limes to reds to dark browns to purples. They really utilize the product really well. There's even grays, and how that red and gray on the bottom pull you into the red hat. I thought this was a bloom. This was great.
I completely agree. Is it my favorite? No. Do I think that they were able to do what they wanted to do? No. Do I like this and think it's a do I like this and think that it's a bloom? Yes, I do. Yeah. Because
it's a safe bloom.
I see what they were trying to do. I see they met in my opinion they met the challenge. That hat, girl, that hat is everything, okay? Yeah. And like, I know that is kind of what ended up shooting them in the foot. Is that they took so much time on that hat, and it being the tallest part of their sculpture, meaning that it's gonna take twice as, anything that you do up there is gonna take twice as long, that it's already up so high that you're gonna have to climb, you're gonna have to deal with scaffolding or whatever, ladders, whatever it may be. Already know that is gonna be the most time eating part of your thing. But girl, that hat is everything for him.
And they knew that it was such a defining detail of a gnome. Could they have went with any other topic? Yes. Because also when you think of a garden, you think of garden gnomes. You think of those type of decorations. Where the other teams, they kind of went a little bit more out of the box with what could be crawling out of the ground. I would love a terrifying, ginormous gnome horror film, because I'm pretty sure there's a ton of them. But I think this was actually fine. Like, this was a safe book. This was a safe thing to do in my mind. And the colors were great. They did really good with the plant material. Our last
team,
Ralph and Jim. I really like the approach of this, because I love when people take a topic and they kind of make it their own more than just having a straight on vision. And they did an anxiety monster. It's two people that really have their own interactions with anxiety or mental health. I very much enjoyed this. Did I enjoy the design? Prune, no, sis bye. But I enjoyed the process and what their approach was to this, not just choosing a recognizable thing, creating something that you feel and something you've went through, an experience of your own. And that is very vulnerable also for two men to be doing on a big television show. So like, love that. But this design, I'm gonna start off. I'm just gonna give you the fantasy. She a prune. I understand the concept of what it is. I love some of the details, but you can't tell it's a monster or what it is. It kind of goes back to their snail. Where and what are the eyes? Are those nostrils? Are those eyes? You can tell they used so much grass that they kind of lose the shape of what the base was going to be, like what they were trying to make the base. I do like how they actually had the plants planted in at the angles. It wasn't just placed and then just covered with mosses or whatever. They really had a good concept of where the plants were planted. I like that you could interact and go into it and be in that space of the anxiety monster. But the design, to me, if I'm looking at the design, it's one of those that we've seen before where the story overshadows the design. It's too focused on the story. And I think that's really what kept them in, was the story, not the design. So for me, unfortunately, it's a prune.
The story is a great. I mean, the story is a great story. I think it's always great.
It's an important story.
When people are open about their mental health and important about their struggles, I have anxiety. I struggle with anxiety regularly. So like, this is something that spoke to me. However, the shape is it's you know what it reminds me of, and I don't know exactly what they're called, but I've seen them in like different stores and stuff, and I think they're called like seeds of happiness or something. They're like different little color, like clay blobs, and they have like a face in them.
Oh yeah, I've seen them at cafes. You can get them at
cafes or something like that. And this is kind of what that reminds me of. But literally, what that is a blob of clay with a face glued, like carved into it. And so like, there's no shape to it. There's no. When I want a monster, like, I get it, it's a monster, and I'm here for the storyline. I love that theirs is so interactive and that you get to climb in, you can actually go into it.
I think that saves them.
I feel though that maybe that would give me some anxiety going in there, because I don't know what kind of mechanics they use. I didn't see them with any pile drivers like HENCK on. So that's a whole other thing. But I think I get what they were trying to do, and I give them props for that. But I do have to prove this design.
Yeah. So those are our four. So moving on into the final, we have Andrew and Ryan. Not a design I would have sent to the final. Hank and Jan, and Ralph and Jim. Those are our finalists. Sarah and Jordan, in my opinion, should have been in the final. They've also done such really good other work. To me, this was better than the last couple works they've done. They've been hit or miss, but this was the prompt. They did everything that they wanted, unlike other people.
Agreed, and I would have loved to have seen what they made in the final. Well, obviously we'll discuss that next episode, but I think I would have. I disagree with the judges also. I think it was a hard decision because while I'm not. Ryan and Andrew's design is for the challenge. I think it's so wrong. As a sculpture, it is so great. So I do see why they weren't eliminated, and I see why that could be a hard decision for the judges. And I, honestly, at this point, when there's four such extremely talented teams, it is a hard decision.
For somebody that's competed and someone that's a judge, do you walk up to it and see an emphasis on the use of evergreen, texture, and a 3D?
Texture, yes.
texture within plant material in a plant material competition.
Texture within plant material, no. But texture
Okay.
within the sculpture, yes.
If you're not hitting the prompt, like, do I think that they shouldn't be in the final? I think that they should have been in the bottom two and been
Yes.
way more evaluated on not hitting the prompt.
If
So,
this would have been, had I been a judge, I would have pulled the classic RuPaul move right here, and it would have been a Shantae double save. Like, let's see all of you what you have to do in the finale.
Oh.
Because
you want to go RuPaul and be like, how dare you? We were rooting for you.
meh.
Meh. Unfortunately, that's how I look at it. Great design. It's a cool design, but meh.
Well,
So
we
what's
do have to
what's
choose
the
a top
bloom of the
bloom.
week? What's your bloom
Mine's
of the
Hank
week?
and Jan's, and I think
It
that's
always
pretty fair.
is, and we always agree. They did the prompt. That was the key. I don't want an animal that just punches me in the gut in the face. It does blend in slightly because it is a creature coming out of the ground. It has to. It is meant to be involved with the ground and its scenery. The use of those,
It's
they use tiny
depth-
plants. The
and,
whole
like, the
face is
depth of
tiny
the
plants.
Eyes, like
Yeah.
like they're just so haunting almost. Like it's so
The
it's
hand,
so it.
but it's still kids could still be around this. Like the bubbliness of the hands, there's still a softness to it. She's bloom. She's the bloom of the week. She's killing it. It's cool and it's gorgeous and it fits the prompt. At the end of the day, this is a competition. It's an evergreen. That's gonna last forever. Unfortunately, I don't know what they do with any of these competition pieces because like floral fashion made out of dry products, something made to last. Like, is this deconstructed? Is this moved somewhere else?
don't
Like,
know.
I'm fascinated to see what happens to it. But Sarah and Jordan went home. We love them. We know that they are hitting every angle of advertising this show. You see it every day. I know at
Yeah,
this
girls.
point, right now when we're recording, Jordan's Instagram got locked for spam or being fake because she was so active in talking
need
about
to
the show
verify her.
and interacting. Yeah, I don't know if she's got it back at this point where we are recording, but Jordan actually lost access to her Instagram account as a spam or false account because she was commenting and like interacting with people. What's one thing that you loved or took away from this episode? Because
From this episode, the thing that I loved the most about this episode was Ralph and Jim and their like the conversations that happened around them, just about mental health, and to see the father and son dynamic between the two of them being so open and healthy and loving and emotional together,
and being honest
I think
about
that's a rare
not being aware of it. Like Ralph saying,
I think
I thought it was a joke at first until I took it seriously with my child. That is, for a dad, is hard. That is, and then to say it on TV, to admit, I did not believe my child was suffering this badly with this mental issues, and then working with your child.
So that's a moment I loved.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with the final design of it, but a moment I really loved. And something that I've really come to really enjoy about this show is the development and the vulnerability that they've shown of the competitors and the community that the competitors have built within each other. I think that's really cool.
You see them on their social media talking to each other all the time, not even just doing lives with each other, but hey, I was hanging out in a voice chat, just on a call with so-and-so. I know that Jim was just dancing around one of Sarah's aprons. Sarah has a whole apron line and is like, should I have one of these? And the world was like, absolutely, because he was just having his life in this frilly, floral, very like feminine, but like fun apron. And he's like, gotta order myself one.
It's the cocktail dress of aprons.
It is. I have to agree. It is this, even though we are starting to see the competitors really compete in a more aggressive way, there's still that I'm not going to walk by and push your design down that we've seen and we know of. That hard competition, that hard, I will do anything to win. They still want others to succeed, and if it's still that mentality of, if you're not doing your best, my best doesn't really matter. Like, I want to compete against the best everyone has. So that's the end of the semifinal, folks. We are moving into the final. I'm excited. We are almost done with season 1.
Crazy.
What can we look forward to in the final, Matt?
The final is like supersized. They have 2 days. I believe that's 2 10-hour days, 20 hours total to make Giant,
Fairy
super
tale
sized fairy tale fantasies. Yes, that's the alliteration. Fairy tale fantasies.
So in the fairy tale finale, we're going to see huge design, but we'll get into that next week on Monday. Matt, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram. I'm there at Coach Blind Florals. And also, you can check out my website, which is www.coachblindflorals.com. And there, you can also catch up on every one of our Floral Friday, Floral Fun live streams that we do. We've had a couple of contestants from this show on there making stuff with us, chatting flowers, just kind of bopping around, getting to know us more. So it's a lot of fun. I've compiled all of those there on my website at Coach Blind Florals on the Floral Friday tab. So check that out. Where can I find
Wonderful.
you?
And I'm on the internet under Floral.today. I bop about. Floral.today is where we do all of our live articles of finished designs, but also you can keep up with Matt and I traveling the world doing competitions when we're released from this pandemic and anything we get up to. So follow us on the internet. We'll catch you next week. Leave comments, leave opinions, and what you thought of the semifinal, and we will catch you.
Bye.